Cheers and welcome to On Tap Brewers, the show that takes you behind the scenes of some of your guys' favorite breweries. Today we're hanging out at Wandering Hop, located in Yakima, Washington. You can check these guys out on Facebook at Wandering Hop Brewing and on Instagram at Wandering Hop. Nate, thanks for being on the show, man.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
Yeah. So again, just like episode 1, we're going to be doing a flight of beers that he totally picked out randomly. That kind of shows kind of what they're all about here at Wandering Hop. But the first question, I just kind of want to get your input, just kind of tell people if they've never been to the brewery, kind of just a bird's eye view of your guys' tap room, what you got going on.
So Wandering Hop is a 21 and over tap room. We do have a small kitchen, so we can offer sandwiches. We've got a Cubano-ish, a Reuben, which is loved by some.
I love Reubens. That's my go-to.
We always have 11 of our beers on tap. Every once in a while, we'll get a guest tap. It's usually a close friend of ours, somebody that we've worked with in the past, and we want to showcase what they're doing. We've usually got 5 to 7 guest ciders, wine options, seltzer for the keto-friendly folks. And we do have a new patio that I'm finishing tomorrow.
Yeah. We, as we were setting up this time, you were, putting the finishing touches on the walls and stuff.
Construction dust on things. But yeah, we'll have the patio, which will be dog friendly. Originally, we were dog friendly in here, the kitchen open, and that had to change due to health regulations. But the patio will always stay dog friendly.
Awesome. Cool, man.
We're dog lovers.
Yeah, and where are you located?
So we're on North 20th Ave. We're not the West Valley scene. We're not downtown. We're kind of we get called the diamond in the rough for the cool place off the beaten path.
Yeah, you're like the bunch of homes and then there's...
So when we got this place, I kept telling myself, I was like, it works in Ballard. Please let it work here. Yeah. Because in Ballard, you'll be standing at a brewery and you'll kind of wander off to take a phone call and you're like, oh, I'm in someone's front yard, which you can literally do next to us. So we kind of did that model thinking we're gonna generate some synergy in the town and hopefully it'll catch on. And I mean, it has. There's 3 breweries have already popped open after we have. So it's great to see the growth in the community.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So let's get right to the first beer on the flight. What you got picked out for us?
So we have the NEIPA. And it's abbreviated, so it is the New England IPA, but it didn't fit on a lot of beer menus. So we shortened it, which a lot of people call it the NEPA, and it's like an inside joke because it just grinds my gears. And now I laugh at it and I'll refer to it as the NEPA. But so it's the New England IPA. We went to Boston, obviously we're the travel themed brewery. We went to Boston and had some of these and I was like, oh my goodness, I've never had anything like this. The hop character is juicy. It's not that bitterness, which I absolutely love our Northwest IPAs, but this was new.
Yeah.
And our whole point when we opened, let's bring new things to the Valley, things that we've seen because we get out and travel. A lot of people don't get to leave the area and really see what's out there in the beer community. So we wanted to bring that back. And that originally was our focal point is I wanted to nail this down. And I spent a ridiculous amount of time, energy, hops, money, trying to perfect this thing. And actually yesterday, or 2 days ago, was our 2-year anniversary. This was the very first keg we ever sold in Yakima to the beer shop, and it was the New England IPA.
Oh, wow.
So it's exciting to pour this and actually drink it because it's its birthday, I guess. So
that's awesome. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
So, and then what's the percentage on that?
So that one, I know, I always have to look. It's 6.3.
Everybody does.
Yeah, it's 6.3%, and I knew that.
That's awesome.
The beer's gotten even more special to us because we've formed relationships in the hop community. Andy Roy from Roy Farms, great guy. He's visited quite often, but Azaka, that's their hop. And so we proudly brew that in there. We swapped out another hop, not knowing that was theirs and that they were good friends. And we tried it out and I was like, oh, there's a huge improvement. So we switched it out, threw in Azaka, and it's been a game changer. So It's nice, yeah.
That's cool. So we can just sip on this now as we keep chatting. Yeah. But so you kind of you talked on like, you're the traveling kind of brewery. That's kind of your thing, Wandering Hop. I kind of want to go back to like where you guys got started. Okay. How did the logo come about? Where did the name come from? Maybe a little bit further into, traveling for people that might not be able to. That kind of story there that you got.
So the logo came when my wife and I were in downtown Bellevue. We were at Bellevue Brewing Company and we were discussing like the vision, the dream. And I originally drew this little hop with its hand on its hips on a circle coaster. Like I flipped over somebody's coaster and started drawing it, but it had like a beach, skyscrapers, and all these different scenes, basically little footsteps leading up to it. And I sent that to my friend. I was like, can you make this less crappy? Because he's an artist, very talented guy. And he sent me back the first version of our logo. Mm-hmm. And it had, some people will remember it from being my personal Instagram friends. And it had just like these dilated, crazy lunatic eyes and this crazy smile with terrifying teeth. So we had to like figure out how are we going to make these eyes better? And we kept going after it and after it and after it. And it was like, what if he's just a cool dude wearing shades and he's just smirking?
Yeah. Does he have the same eyes just underneath the shades?
Underneath the eyes are haunting. So it started on a receipt, on the back of a receipt, on a coaster. And I just kept sending him photos. He'd send me proofs and we'd go back and forth. And I didn't want to hurt his feelings at first. So I was like, no, that looks cool. And then finally one day you're just like, all right, here's my dream. Try and draw this.
Yeah.
Even though we're 305 miles apart, try and do this.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Was the stick and the little sack always been a part of the idea?
Yeah, the little stick and sack was part of it. Originally, it just looked like a broomstick, and it was like this perfect circle. And eventually, we finally tweaked it enough that he just grabbed the stick out of the woods and tied up the old bandana. I don't know what the proper term for that is.
Right,
I can't remember what they're called, a bindle? It's something like that. We had one of those late night beer chats trying to figure out what they're actually called.
But I have no idea what the proper name is. And then the name, were you just a traveler that always went to breweries?
Wandering Hop, it was my wife and I when we first started dating. I remember I talked about how I like to just travel, go to new places, and that I love beer, obviously. And she had never really traveled. I was like, okay, well, we should plan a trip. And like 3 months into dating, this is the wild card in me. I was like, you've never been to Vegas? Oh, I go all the time. We should totally book a non-refundable flight after knowing each other for 3 months. And it was one of the best Vegas trips I've ever had. We had a blast, and it just kind of continued that. But everywhere we would go, we would try and find like a new brewery or just that hole in the wall like bar.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm a huge fan of Zane Lamprey's Drinking Made Easy, 3 Sheets, his drinking TV show. That was like a big spark for us. I remember watching that a long time ago when I had just gotten into beer, and I was like, this man is making a living off of just traveling and having fun. Yeah. I was like, I would love to do that.
Right.
But we got addicted to finding unique little spots and stories to bring back to our friends or take them with us and show everything off. So that's really where it was born. We just started hitting breweries and bars, and it had to be unique. It's not like, there's 7 bars in a row. Let's just go inside every single one. It needed to be something special.
And then the name just kind of naturally happened.
Yeah,
we're Yakima, so Hop, and then Wandering.
We went back and forth on tons of different names. Like, do we make it about a family thing, like use our last name? I don't want to put my name into it, and don't look at the beer names behind us because my name's in like 3 of them. But we wanted to do something that kind of showcased traveling, and I mean, it took forever. And finally I was like, that logo that I drew, I was like, it's just a little wandering hop guy. Wandering Hop. Boom. It's like, that's perfect. So that's awesome. Kind of where we went. Yeah.
Cool, man. I mean, it's cool to have a story behind it. I mean, you see the names and you're like, how did that happen? So it's cool to kind of know that backstory. How'd you get started? I mean, I've talked to you briefly just coming in like before the show and everything, just sitting at the bar and you kind of talking about the struggles with, regulation and then and then all the work, obviously.
So I had worked my original background's in IT, and one of my coworkers was a home brewer and kept talking about how much fun it was. So I got into it, and I had homebrewed probably 2 or 3 times. The results were questionable, suspect, if you will.
You're like, all right, good enough. Let's make a brewery.
I was like, hey, this has alcohol in it. People will like this. It's free beer. Who's going to say no?
Right.
And that's a whole nother problem when starting a brewery. You go to give beer to your friends, like, what do you think?
Yeah.
It's free. They love it.
It's great. Yeah.
This is the best I've ever had. Yeah, I'll take more. But I was working for family, and my dad's always telling me I need to find my own pie, instead of a piece of someone's pie, start my own pie. And asked me what I was passionate about. And I told him beer. and I said I wanted to open a brewery. And he looked at me and said, well, have you brewed before? Yes.
Yeah.
So I was
twice.
Semi-confidently yes, but I know myself. If I really want something, I'll dedicate way too much time to it.
Right.
And so we ended up buying a pilot system. We remodeled the garage in the home we had, plumbed it, ran some electrical, and I started doing pilot batches every Thursday for like a year and a half. I was just brewing, dumping, brewing. And because I'd grown up in Yakima, I could just bring a growler into like the beer shop, sports center, the pub, and they'd hand out samples, and I would just sit there quietly and listen to what everyone at the bar had to say.
Oh man, that's interesting.
So you actually get true feedback. Somebody will drink it, set it back down, and excuse themselves to the bathroom because it was just horrible. But none of your friends will ever tell you that usually. So we got some of the best feedback possible, and I was just a note taker. So I always knew what we could change, what we did wrong, what we needed to adapt and adjust. And so it got like a wildfire.
Yeah. What was the pilot system? What that consist of? Like how big were you doing?
We kind of got carried away. We had a lot of friends in the industry, and we got connected to the owner of More Beer. I don't know that he wanted me to have his direct line, but I called him and was like, I need a pilot system. and it just caught him off guard, and he put me in touch with their sales guy. They took really good care of us.
Nice.
And we ended up getting a 20-gallon pilot system, a little bit of automation to it, which was nice. It would have been nicer if I even knew how to use it when we first got it. So I did everything as manually and physically demanding as possible. I've always made everything hard for myself since the get-go.
Yeah. Well, we were filming you. It was fun. You know, just how hands-on you guys
are. When I'm trying to look over, cut, don't see this. This is horrible. I'm looking directly into a moving pump. But yeah, we've never had it easy. Everything's been kind of a challenge. The pilot system, it was great, but when we first opened, our main brew house wasn't online. So I was keeping this place running. We had usually 6 to 8 beers on tap that I was brewing a half barrel at a time, which once you get into the keg and you account for foam loss, maybe 110 pints. And it took me 2 weeks to make that.
Yeah.
So I was brewing 7 days a week. I'd get up, just go straight into brewing. And it just never ended. And it was like 8 months of that before we finally got the main system running.
Yeah.
And going from the garage to 3.5 barrels, which still is extremely tiny today, but to me it was huge. I'm used to being able to pick up and dump out. And these ones, it's like, oh, so that's there forever. I mean, it was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy.
So, and you guys always had quite a few on tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the early times.
I remember when we launched, I had that wonderful idea, let's just have something for everyone, which it's not possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we've tried countless times. If we dial back the IPAs and bring on some of the other things immediately, where's all the IPAs? So we're just juggling whatever I'm in the mood for that morning.
Yeah.
It's really, there's no schedule, no calendar. It's however I wake up that day.
Yeah, whatever you're in the mood for, which we'll kind of get to when we talk later. But
it's like, last night at dinner I had an amber. I like that. I think we should brew one tomorrow morning. That's pretty much that's how it goes.
That's awesome. What's next on the flights?
So next, look at me talking away.
Yeah.
So next is Tastes Like Home. Originally named it Hop Country Roads, because the song by John Denver was on Country Roads. Yeah. And it was Hop Country Roads, and I was all excited, and it tasted great. And I remember sitting down, going to add it to Untappd, and I opened up Instagram, and Bale Breaker's newest can was Hop Country. I was like, I'll find a different name. I love them.
Beat me to the punch.
We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
So anything I can do to help them or not get in their way. So renaming the beer, it was like, that's not a problem.
Right.
And because it was two of our favorite hops in this, it tastes like home. So when we're on the road, like if we're in the Midwest and we're drinking more maltier beers with the less aggressive hops, and I'm like, I really want something from back home. Yeah. So when we do get home from traveling and you have a sip, it's like, yep, this tastes like home. That's where that came from. Yeah.
Cool. And then so it's hazy, like a lot of your beers
this one wasn't intentionally meant to be hazy. We switched up our grain profile. We usually use 2-row and everything. It's a very, very common base malt. And we switched over to a Pilsner malt and tried to lighten up the body, get a little bit away from the grain so you could really taste the hops in it. Mm-hmm. And of course, because we're us, it's hazy.
Right, yeah. Somehow it's hazy.
I know. I looked at it crossed and it went hazy. So
that's funny. And the alcohol on this one, what is this one here?
Tastes like home kind of varies.
Tastes like home.
7%, yeah. We try and keep this one a little higher. And it's also a new yeast strain to us. Mm-hmm. We try to create more relationships with a lot of the people in the area. Most of the yeast is coming from the Northwest. You've got Y Yeast in Hood River and then Imperial in Portland. And we met them when we were in Denver, and I liked both of them. And I'm one of those people, I want to share my business with everyone, not just pinpoint one.
Right.
Spread the love. So we use a yeast strain from them to make this beer, and I absolutely love it. It tastes like home.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with Taste Like Home, and you talked about like you guys brew like, you know, whatever you're feeling. You know, we had National Donut Day, and you guys did like a donut beer, and then you've done cereal beer before. How do you guys come up with the zaniness and pull it off? You know, and it actually tastes good.
Yeah, that's a lot of it's me at the grocery store getting wild ideas. And so Tastes Like Home, I was at home watching my little one. My wife was away and I was watching him. He went down for a nap and I sat down, I cracked a Field 41. I remember it vividly. And I started reading some of my old homebrew magazines, and they did an interview with The Alchemist, Focal Banger, Hetty Topper, those guys. Mm-hmm. And I remember reading through it and some of their methods, and I was like, that's different. We've never even thought about doing anything like that. We could play around with that. Mm-hmm. And I ordered the yeast that day, and we sat down. I wrote a new recipe, because normally we just do a massive rush of hops at the very end. Some of our beers, they're throughout the boil, but this one I was like, we could hop it throughout and keep it nice and balanced. It's not aggressively juicy or hoppy. It's kind of a in-between, kind of our two passions. Like I love a good Northwest bitter piney IPA, but I also love the juicy East Coast IPAs.
Yeah, it's like
so we tried to find something in the middle, and it was just me reading a magazine, and 3 beers later, I wrote a really good recipe, apparently.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
So I mean, I know there's other breweries doing it and stuff like that, but like what's it like to brew a beer and then just throw a bunch of cereal into it? Like, or donuts or a cake, like when you do the birthday cake stuff. Like, what's that?
The first time I did it with the Fruity Pebbles, I remember we were out just grocery shopping and I saw massive bags of Fruity Pebbles and it said gluten-free. I was like, well, we could just buy these, and if this doesn't turn out, it wasn't a big loss. And I was thinking gluten-free because everything I get that's gluten-free holds itself together so much better. Like my wife's dairy-free cheese, it does not melt. I mean, those things just stay how they are. And I was thinking in my head, maybe the Fruity Pebbles would do the same thing instead of turning to pure mush and clogging the mash tun.
Right.
So we wanted to do a wandering conjuring. I wanted to get every one of my staff members, which at the time was me, my brother, and Charisma. And we just said, let's get together. This will be off the clock, and we're just going to sample some beers and have some fun. If it doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out. Mm-hmm. Not a big loss because it was just a half barrel batch. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we poured it in, it smelled amazing, and we sampled it. It was like, okay, this might actually work.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, when we had it fermenting away and I kept sampling, I was like, okay, confidence levels getting pretty high.
Right.
And the same thing with the birthday cake beer. We had been open for almost a year, and I was at the grocery store grabbing a water bottle, and I was like, man, it's our birthday. I should get candles and do some cool post. And then I saw a birthday cake. I was like, well, the inner child in me is taking over, so we're gonna throw birthday cake into a beer. Mm-hmm. And all I figured it's grain at one point, It won't really contribute anything, but it'll look really cool. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it actually did give some flavor to it.
Yeah.
I figured we'd just throw something in. It'd be one of those flashy little moments on Instagram. People might say, oh, wow, Wandering Hop, we've never heard of them. They threw cake in beer. We should go visit. And it did. It definitely worked.
Yeah.
But the beer turned out so good.
Yeah.
We constantly get asked, hey, you're the birthday cake beer guys, are you doing that again? It's like, well, when we turn 2, only we'll do like 7 times more than we did.
That's awesome.
Which means I'm going to go to Costco and get like a massive sheet cake with our name on it, throw the whole thing in.
Yeah, that'd be a good photo.
I don't have to clean it, so it's fine. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. Are you throwing that in like when you're doing the grain part?
We throw it in
like
the mash. Yeah. So after all the grain's gone in, I just slap it on top of the mash, and everyone can see it. Because then when we go to rinse or sparge, it just kind of turns into this clumpy mess of sadness.
Yeah.
So it's good to just get it done, take your pictures.
And you're scooping it out with.
Yeah. So I always have to message the farmer who picks up our grain. I'm like, hey, don't be weirded out. This one has like cookies in it, or there's cake in this one, or 5 boxes of graham crackers. Like, please don't be weirded out. Yeah.
Fine.
He's just like, well, okay, pigs will like it. Perfect. That's what we're going for.
Oh, that's what that's used for?
Yeah, it's pig feed and mostly pig feed for this farmer, and cow feed. Yeah.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I was always curious where the grain went.
So if we ever expand and get crazy and get a restaurant, we'll hopefully get to emulate some of our heroes and do like the burgers are made with beef from this farm, which our beer feeds. So that was always our end game, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like work with more of the agriculture in the area, because growing up in Yakima, I was like, oh, I can't wait to move away. And now that we're in the beer industry, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we're here. We have everything at our disposal.
Right.
I mean, hops are 2 miles that way. We've got all the agriculture in the world. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So I want to use more of it.
That's awesome. So much like the cake and the donut and stuff like that, and you've done red beers and stuff, like just things that I just don't normally see breweries typically do at their tap room, at least. Is there anything on the horizon that you might want to like disclose or anything like that?
Nothing I can really think of.
Yeah, it's pretty spur of the moment. It sounds like when you're talking about it. I think
I'm one of those people. If I tried to plan it would just go horribly. But if I just showed up last minute and was like, Trevor, look over there, and just dump a bucket of whatever I felt like, that works a lot better.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I wish I had something on the horizon. We're just trying to. Actually, we're doing some new milkshake IPAs. We've got a lot of customers who are lactose intolerant, so we're going to start messing around with like an almond milk or a cashew milk or oat milk. Just another way to do something for everyone, like going back to that. But we're going to do blueberries and peaches in one of the next ones, and try and work with a lot of the produce stands.
Cool.
Find other ways to get more various fruits into our milkshake IPAs.
Nice. Yeah. You that's a recent thing, or has that always been?
The milkshake probably happened a year ago.
Yeah.
And it took off way more than I ever expected.
Yeah, we did a tasting where you were pouring, the milkshakes in the tap room, or not the tap room, but the brewery part, and you mixing them, and it's just cool.
I mean, we did a strawberry milkshake and then a mango milkshake.
Yeah,
and
that's what it was.
Yeah, and we've got a couple customers who will blend our beers and do all the scientific work for me, which is great. Thank you guys. Yeah. But yeah, the mango and strawberry together was perfect. So we're doing that one actually tomorrow. Mango and strawberry are going into 3 barrels of the milkshake. Our game plan for the festival season is just milkshake IPA. It's summer. It's hot, refreshing fruit, and a light bodied beer.
Awesome.
So instead of committing ourselves to 8 different beers for 8 different festivals, I just said, let's do one beer. That way everyone knows what they're getting. And it's something they can come here and get as well. Instead of it being a one-time thing. Sorry, it's gone.
Right.
I'll add it to my list.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's speaking of lists, what's next on the list?
So next is 369 Damn She Fine.
This is a staple.
Yeah, this is one of the originals. So a lot of people love this beer based purely on the name. I love Mosaic hops, and that's 100% of what's in here. And the reason for the name is I was in a pinch. We opened in like an hour, and I had just kegged this, didn't know what to call it, and I was pacing around and back and forth, and I was like, okay, Mosaic. Googled Mosaic, pulled it up, HBC 369. And the music cued. And I was like, yep, this is called 369 Damn She Fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I can't even tell you how many people walk up and they'll see it and they'll start singing. Give me one of those. I don't even like IPAs, but I want one of those.
I got to try that.
Perfect. It worked.
I like committing to beers too. Like, I don't want to sample, just give me a pint of that. That's what I want.
So that one, I mean, and this specific pour is double dry hopped we had a lot of Mosaic in our walk-in. I was like, well, you should probably start using some of this. I'll be pretty angry if we let some of this get too old.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's like, yeah, let's double dry hop it and have some fun. Plus, it was Seattle Beer Week, and we wanted to bring something fun.
Yeah, yeah, that is fun. That'll grab the attention of people lining up. Apparently, I need new glasses. What's the
369 is 6.8.
6.8. All right. Cool.
Normally it's 6.9.
Yeah,
and we always keep it on tap 9. But
yeah. That was cool of you to like stay honest and not just put the 9 in there for the sake of putting the 9 in there.
And that's us too.
That's awesome.
Super honest here.
Cool.
Yeah, 369's always been one of our staples. Nothing's really changing with that one.
Nice. So, I guess the next thing I really want to talk to you specifically about is just all the collaborations and what that's all about. I mean, you do a ton with Bellbreaker and everybody around. So,
collaborations.
Yeah.
It's my dad's gonna see this. It's really like a break for the breweries. Like, yeah, it's work and we're brewing, but at the same time we're having fun. We get to play around a lot, and it's a one-off. So it's not we're trying to make this beer exactly the way it should be. This is new uncharted territory. So like our most recent one was the Bellbreaker collab that we did, Careless Whirlpool. That was nuts. Bellbreaker has never been the hazy brewery, and that was our thing.
Yeah.
And we went over there, and they had new techniques, and we brought a little bit of what we do. They brought what they do, and I mean, this beer is like a month old, and it is still beautifully hazy, and it's incredible. Mm-hmm. So that was a really cool collab. 6 years ago, I was sitting at Bellbreaker, like just wishing I could be a part of that industry. I was there their first day that they opened, and I remember sitting there, and there's a photo of me just staring like in excitement. And we brewed our first collab with them on their 5th anniversary, the day of their 5th anniversary.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
And like in the middle of the brew, my phone gives me an alert. Here's your 5-year ago memory. I was like, okay, what is it? Oh, I was literally sitting here wishing I could be a part of this. And now I am.
That's awesome.
And it was one of those little fanboy moments where I just kind of stood back and took it all in. It was great. And we just recently did a collab with Varietal and the Hop and Hound in Bothell for their 5th anniversary, which all the recent collabs are mind-blowing to me. I remember when we opened, I figured we'd just be this little ma and pa brewery, and we'd start getting some traction and we'd grow. But now we're a part of collabs for killer tap rooms in Seattle. It's mind-blowing to me. I don't know, I'm humbled by it. It's great. So he had a crazy weekend. I say he, Eric, the owner of the Hop and Hound. They had a crazy 5th anniversary. They had custom glassware and t-shirts, and it shows Varietal beer and Wandering Hop on it.
Wow,
It was super cool to see. They dropped us off some stickers. I was like, that's our name. That's us.
Yeah.
We did it. So it's been really fun.
So it's laid back. How does the recipe come about, or is that just over a text message? Like, how do you guys determine like what you're doing?
The Bellbreaker one, I sat down with Kevin Smith. We had more than enough pints and just kind of wrote it out. He had his laptop going. I threw in what we use. He said what they use, and we kind of just blend the two styles. And I mean, this is really a showcase of what both of us do. Mm-hmm. They hopped the hell out of it in the best way possible. Yeah. They showed us some techniques, and we do a little trick with our Whirlpool and kind of gave it the name. And also Careless Whisper played, and for the next 3 hours we couldn't stop whistling the theme. So that's stuck there now. Yeah. That's where that came from.
Very cool. So that's that beer. But
I raced ahead.
You raced ahead. You're breaking that. That's funny. So with collaborations, do you have any on the horizon? Are you doing any other ones?
So one of my good friends just went traveling. He hit everything in the Northwest that he could. He went to Bellingham, tons of cities I'm not going to remember the names of.
Yeah, totally.
But he did me a favor and dropped off a crowler to one of our other influences, which was Three Magnets in Olympia. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love their beer, what they're doing. And their head brewer gave the business card and had my friend send me a picture of it. He's like, have him get a hold of me. So hopefully we can do something in the future soon. Boundary Bay out of Bellingham, the owner approached me and said, we need to keep in contact. We need to get something rolling. You guys make great stuff. So it was super cool.
That's cool. And that's just kind of how they all happen.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we need to do something together.
Yeah, you find somebody who's similar to your style, or you love what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or you're just out drinking one night, you make great friends with a stranger and they happen to be a brewer too. So that's how most of them have started. Like the Blewett one, we've known those guys for a long time. We met them at a festival a couple years ago, and then we stayed in contact. And now every time we go to Leavenworth, we have to pop into Blewett, have some pizza, and those guys are great. Our collab was a bit of a show. We did the Death by Donuts. It was a double batch. It was about a 10 or 11 hour brew day. 40 pounds of donuts, pastries, a gallon of maple syrup, and 2 pounds of cinnamon sticks. And the thing was absolutely out of hand. It was new. Nobody locally had done anything weird like that, probably for good reason. But it turned out, and it was a great beer. But after we got done with that, we went to Icicle, and their brewers had just got done brewing. So you put 6 brewers at one table, and beers were flowing. And fast forward to the next morning, I woke up on their floor with a half-deflated air mattress. We moved all the furniture out of their tap room and restaurant, and we all slept on air mattresses and cots and whatever we had. There's some great photos on my phone. I jumped a fence and pet a goat, so that was a good time.
Pet a goat?
It was
it warm out or cold? I always think cold.
It was pretty cold.
Yeah.
I made some poor choices. I had a great time. It was one of the most memorable collabs. And their surveillance footage that they text me every once in a while is absolutely hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It's fun. So you, you typically go to their brewery and do the collabs.
I like brewing at our brewery, but everyone else typically has a nicer system.
Yeah,
put it easily.
Yeah.
Ours has its quirks. It's one of those things where, oh no, you have to hit it with a hammer on this side.
Right.
And I know our brew house very well. So it's easier for me to just...
So are you driving back to their place to grab the kegs, to bring them back
here?
Yeah,
and it's Blewett, those guys are way too nice. They actually drove them down here, dropped them off, and I still had a couple hours of work to do, so they went to Single Hill. I sent them straight over there. I was like, go check it out, have a good time.
That's awesome.
And I got a text, and they're like, worst brewery ever. I was like, what happened? And I get a picture. Ben, their brewer, went to take a sip of beer, and bird shit right on his hand. It was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So it was just, the camaraderie and the ridiculous things that happen between us all. I love it.
That's funny. So I don't really know what to do at this point because you already talked about this beer, but just give me a quick flyby of it.
Okay.
So did you talked about the name? I mean, obviously it's a collab beer,
Careless
and
Whirlpool.
you came up with it, and that's because they do they have that there.
Casey out of Billbreaker had his playlist going, and Careless Whisper by Wham, not George Michaels, it was Wham, was playing, and for the next 3 hours, we would just kind of be brewing, doing stuff, and you'd start whistling the theme. You're like, oh my gosh, I cannot make it stop. I was like, we should totally name the brew after this, Careless Whirlpool.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith's like, there we go. Because normally beer names take so long to come up with.
Yeah.
Because somebody's already done it, or who knows, it's offensive, or whatever it may be. Everything's always taken.
When you're looking at names, are you looking just like worldwide or just kind of local?
I open up
if it's not
Beer
local, it's
Advocate
safe.
and Untapped. And if they're not within like 1,500 miles of me, I'm like,
that's a safe thing.
Yeah, I'm using it.
Yeah.
Or if it's like an AB brewery, I'm like, still gonna steal it.
Yeah.
We accidentally did that. The beer we brewed today was Spruce Almighty. It was the Spruce Tips that we picked camping last week. It's double IPA. Spruce Almighty was genius. I released it, and I went to check and see how it was doing. And the first one that popped up wasn't ours. It was like, that's the one I forgot to look up.
Yeah.
And it was...
You're keeping the name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because deep down, I would love to get a cease and desist from Anheuser-Busch. I think it'd be great. Maybe something else to frame up on the wall.
Yeah, right. Put it up on the cease and desist letter.
Hey, look what we did, guys.
This is the email.
Yep.
That's funny. Very cool.
If they send the Bud Night in, though, it might get escalated. That'd be terrifying.
And then alcohol on this, just because I want you to say it.
7.4?
Say it again.
Oh, it's 7.4.
7.4.
Without even looking. I had it. Yeah, this beer, They had access. So when we discussed the hop profile, Kevin mentioned a hop that I'd never heard of, which surprised me because I usually pay way too much attention to hops, and it was a experimental Australian. I was like, I don't even need to know anything about it. Throw it in. Let's do it. This sounds great. So this thing got hopped heavily.
Yeah.
And it's still holding up. I mean, it's over a month old, and it's killer.
Yeah. Awesome. So the last thing I want to do, just kind of like some random questions with you,
okay.
And then you can plug kind of whatever you got going on,
okay.
If you've got anything, and then we'll kind of wrap the show up.
Okay.
But the first question is, so breweries go to events and stuff. What's the craziest event story? Is it because you get the people that are like, "What's the highest alcohol content?"
Right.
And they hand you a glass. Like, do you have any crazy stories that you remember?
Fresh hop last year got pretty insane.
Yeah.
At one point, somebody said, "Nate, you need to step out and go look at the lines really quick." Mm-hmm. And I remember getting to the very end of the line, and it was our idols, of course, Cloudburst, Holy Mountain, and then us. We had the three biggest lines.
Yeah.
And it was one of those big goosebump moments, and I probably did like a peacock pose and kind of looked back and forth, but it was...
I can picture you doing
that. Was nuts. And then what led to that was because we, like monsters, did a fresh hop milkshake IPA.
Uh-huh.
And by the time word had gotten around, that keg had already blown. I didn't think it would be that big, and I was also kind of like, we're gonna get so much hate for doing this.
Yeah.
We put fresh hop and vanilla and lactose in a beer, but people had found out about it, heard it was a thing, thought it was great, and so our line was out of control, and they're like, "Where's the milkshake?" And I was like, "Oh, it's gone." Mm. And then they would just stand there angrily gripping the table, and it's like, I don't have an answer for this.
There's like a line of 200 people about to riot, right?
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna go take a bathroom break. Somebody else is in charge. Guests or volunteers, somebody help. That was a bit nuts.
That's cool. You're working the line. Typically, breweries aren't
the whole time.
Working the line.
I've had a fresh hop curse where our good friends kept getting married on the day of fresh hop.
Me too, man. I missed last year. No offense, guys, but I missed last year, and there's another friend's wedding this year on that day. And they're saying that we'll be able to go to the fresh hop because it'll be an early wedding.
Oh, okay.
So I'm right there with you. Anyways,
we missed 2 back to back.
Yeah, that's right.
I had to do all the brewing, the setup, and then leave.
Yeah.
So it was like I never really got to enjoy it. So this year I was like, I'm standing behind the counter the whole time.
Yeah.
This year is gonna be a challenge. Speaking of traveling, we are leaving 5:30 a.m. the day after fresh hop to hop on a plane for Hawaii.
Yeah.
To go see a friend get married. At least she did it after. So that was cool.
That's cool. That's super rad.
We'll see how well I appear that day.
Another random question. I mean, we were filming you guys brewing, and I thought it was super funny. But what kind of music are you guys listening to? You guys had an early morning music playlist and then an afternoon playlist.
So our brew days are fairly long, about 11 hours. It starts off some heavy metal.
Right in the morning.
Yeah. Angry, screamo. And then that starts to get annoying, and we switch over to Taylor Swift. That's our thing. We have every other Friday. It started with me. Every other Friday is payday, and I would just blast Taylor Swift for no reason and make everyone listen to it before they could get their paychecks. I don't know why that started. Then I dubbed it Tay Tay Payday, and we even made a beer Tay Tay Payday. It was the blueberry milkshake IPA.
That's funny.
Yeah, and so we go from like Asking Alexandria to Taylor Swift to like Mozart to back to Bring Me the Horizon, more angry music. And then at one point sometimes the music's not even on and we're just kind of whistling over each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans.
A lot of it's me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I feel bad. Like I'm supposed to set this example. Like, hey, let's stay focused here.
Yeah.
But I'm also throwing pranks in the middle of a brew day, and I like to keep it interesting and fun. I don't know. If something's the same every single day, it gets boring.
Yeah. There's a clip of him in a grain sack hopping around.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to put that in the
I
video.
really wanted to know how that would go down.
I'll put that in the video for sure for the brewing process video that we do.
It's
or
part of
like
it.
That. Yeah.
It's a crucial.
So last question before we kind of wrap things up. From opening day, when you guys opened up till now, what was the most surprising thing that like you just didn't expect to like, you know, whether that's like how cool the industry is or just this or that.
Wow. Yeah.
Like out of everything you've experienced as a brewery.
That's a good question.
Like,
yeah. I think the hospitality from all the other breweries. I came from a sales background after IT, and I mean, sales is a cutthroat industry. You're trying to be that much better than the next person. And with the brewing industry, it was, I had a problem, 4 brewers show up, and they're like, well, this is how you fix that. And in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, why are they telling me
giving
this?
me secrets.
What's there? And it's never been that way. It's open doors. Yeah. Oh, you want to brew that beer? Here's the recipe. Print it out, highlight things, give you my notes. That blew my mind. It was, and it's still my dad. He's the same way. He's running the commercial cleaning company and sales. And when I tell him, oh, they gave us this and they helped us with this, kind of pauses because it's unusual. It's so weird. But all of us just want to help each other, especially in the Yakima Valley. Whenever we travel, people are like, oh, you're from Yakima. Why are you here? You guys have all the hops. You probably have a ton of breweries. And when we first started traveling, we had 3. And I'm like, we don't. So we're trying to figure out what we can bring back to the area and help grow. Because we live here. This is our permanent home. I want to grow the community and be a bigger part of the city.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was flipping through your Instagram page and you talked like, oh, you know, I just want to shout out to Veilbreaker and then Yakima Craft to let you guys clean your guys' caves.
Yeah.
And then there was a photo of you like, hey, we can clean our own,
yeah,
you know,
we
our
went
caves
like
and stuff.
a year without a keg washer.
Yeah. And just how they kind of rallied behind you and were like, yeah.
If we couldn't have cleaned kegs, we probably would have just shut down.
Yeah. What do you do at that
point? We
point?
had nothing to do. And they, every single time we needed them. I know there was times we showed up at the absolute worst times.
Yeah. You
said
last minute like, in the post. Yeah.
Yep. Wash them. It's like, I will do everything I can for the rest of my life to make up for this. Yeah. I have a debt that I can never repay.
Cool.
So I'm super grateful for the community and the breweries. Other than that, I can't,
that's the most surprising thing. I mean, you summed it up. Yeah.
Probably that. Yeah. Also, the amount of people who really followed our brewery. I mean, I was just talking to my wife about this last night. Chuck's Hop Shop in Seattle, amazing beer shop. We absolutely love that place. And I remember when we hadn't opened, we were still an idea and we were doing things. And we sat down, had a flight there, and I was like, this place is incredible. They have all the beers I love in one spot. Fast forward to now, we're painted on a permanent mural that they have. Like our name is up there with a little sign, and it's mind-blowing to me. Just like I was saying about the collaboration with Hop and Hound. I never saw this coming. One of my favorite customers, EJ, tattooed our logo on his wrist.
Wow.
His very first tattoo is our logo. He showed me up. I don't even have our logo tattooed yet. So I was like, okay. I can keep putting on temporary tattoos. But the support has been unbelievable.
That's awesome.
So I'm eternally grateful to everyone.
Cool.
Normally I'm a chatty person, and when I talk about how much people have done for us, I just choke up. Like, that's unbelievable.
Perfect. Well, there's no more beers to go over. If you want to look at that camera and just kind of plug whatever you want to plug, then the one on the right there.
Yeah. Trying to think of
whatever you want.
Well, thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate everyone for being a part of this. Thank you for having me here.
Sure.
If you haven't visited us, please do give us a shot. Food, cider, wine, beer. We have everything, or at least we try to have everything. Tons of our own beers on tap, stuff that you can't get at the local places we distribute to. We've got a new patio, dog-friendly, fire tables. If it's cold, we've got huge fire. If it's hot, we'll turn the fire off. Something for everyone, I hope.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for checking out On Tap Brewers. If you can leave a comment on the YouTube video or just leave us what do they call that? Like a 5-star review. If it's not 5 stars, don't even bother. But anything can help at this point. Share, like, subscribe, all the places, all that good stuff. Hit the bell notification, whatever they want us to do. Anyways, thanks for checking out On Tap Brewers, and we can't wait to show you the videos that we got behind the scenes of these guys.
What's up, guys? It's Nate from Wandering Hop. I want to give a huge shout out to On Tap Brewers. Go check out their Facebook, their Instagram, follow, like, love, 5-star reviews. Seriously, if you're gonna give them less, maybe just go somewhere else. But yeah, these guys are doing great things for the beer community. I can't thank them enough for promoting us, putting our name out there, helping everyone know about the beer that's in the Valley, the Pacific Northwest, everywhere. I mean, there's so much good beer. Get on your phone, find something, go wander. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.